Good. How are you doing? Huh? No, not really. What's that? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. What is this? Oh yeah. Right. Right. That's right. Yeah, we have to. We have to. All right. Austin, front row. Josh, you guys. Let's just start with it. Do you think you were going to be number one? I wasn't sure. I thought it would be a toss-up. I think most of us thought it would. We all thought it could have gone either way. LSU obviously is a great football team, and we're just so happy to be in this thing. I've never been there. They went in we went in 2016, but I wasn't here yet. So this is a whole new deal for me, and I'm just so excited to be in.
Dan, Josh, what do you feel like you guys have to do now, coming off 13-0 and coming off this, to kind of get refocused and start looking ahead to this game?
Yeah, well, Clemson is a great football team. I don't remember how many games in a row they won, but it's something crazy. So we obviously have great respect for our opponent, and to get ready for this game, it's going to take as much focus and preparation as we can possibly do in 3 weeks.
Have you watched them at all, just on TV over the season? Any impressions of them?
Yeah, I mean they're a very good football team. I've watched them. There's been a couple times where we've had like night games and they've been playing during the day, and I've caught them for 30 minutes or something. They're obviously a very very good football team. But I haven't watched any film on them yet, so I'm real excited to do that. See, hopefully we can get film on them as soon as possible.
Yeah. How much do you think the break will help you guys, Justin getting healthy, probably all you guys getting healthy? How important is that?
Yeah, I think that'll be huge. That 3-game stretch we just played was no joke. That was a battle 3 weeks in a row. I think our offensive line and everybody really needs this break, kind of get our bodies back to right and get ready to go make a run for this thing.
Going into the Big Ten championship game, was there a thought among the team that we want to just not win, but win with style points so we can be the number one seed, or was that not even a factor?
To be honest, I don't think we thought about it just because, look, I mean, Wisconsin is a good football team, and we knew it was going to be. I think most of us knew it was going to be a dogfight. No one's just going to come into the Big Ten championship and roll over. So we knew we were in for it, and honestly, just getting out of there with a win, Big Ten championship, 13-0. That's all we were looking for.
Right behind Tony.
Josh, people have talked about Clemson like they're the one team that nobody should want to play, in the playoffs. Do you feel like teams shouldn't want to play you guys?
That they should want to play
They
us?
should not want to play you as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. To be honest with you, top 4 teams in the country, I don't think anyone really wants to play. I mean, you do because you're a competitor, but when you're looking at advantages for yourself, I mean, all 4 of these teams are great football teams. Oklahoma's 12-1, Big 12 championships. I mean, they're not gonna roll over. You know what I mean? It's all 4 of the teams in this thing are really, really good football teams, and it could go either way for anybody.
Is there any advantage to going into a situation like this as the underdog, the quote-unquote underdog, or are you guys beyond that?
I mean, I think it's good for Coach Day to motivate us, and Coach Day is excellent at motivating our team, and I'm sure he'll use every angle he possibly can to get us as pumped for this game as we can be. So, yeah.
What did you guys learn about your team last night with a playoff spot maybe on the line, et cetera? You're down 21-7 at the half. I mean, what came right about y'all in number 2? How does that help y'all with momentum headed into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, we hadn't really faced a whole lot of adversity so far this season, and I don't think anybody really knew how we would respond. I mean, outside of our own locker room, I think we all knew how we would respond. But, I'm so proud of the way we turned around and came back and just gritted our teeth and won that game. I mean, that was a war now. That was brutal.
You guys played a murderer's
Row, those last three, you talked about that. Coach Day's been amazing at motivating you guys. Is there a little disappointment that you're not number one, and will that guy give you the edge that coach is always looking for?
Yeah, I mean, we're undefeated, and of course we want to be number one, but we're not, and I don't think that's on any of our minds. Immediately one of the first things he said after it was, okay, we're still in this thing. We're number two, and we're playing Clemson, and we're in the college football playoffs. What else can you ask for? We're right in the run for it.
We're all coughing. Josh, you talked about what a grind it was these past three games, but in the first part of the season, a lot of guys, including the offensive line, did get out of games in the second half. Mm-hmm. I asked Coach Day about this the other day, but has that done anything for you guys? Did you feel for this stretch run and now the playoff that you were maybe a little more rested from earlier in the year?
Yeah, I think that was extremely beneficial that we got to get some of that rest earlier on in the year. That's so huge for us, especially as an offensive line unit coming into a stretch like that. Because if you play, 2 weeks in a row that are tight games and we have 80 snaps, that's 5 weeks in a row of absolutely going at it. And then finishing it with our 3 hardest games. So that rest that we got the couple weeks prior was huge. Was huge for that run, and it helped us a lot. It helped us a lot.
We know what college football is like. The playoff, since Ohio State won it in 2014, has been dominated by Southern teams. Mm-hmm. When you guys head out into the world like this now, you're going to win for yourselves, for your teammates, your coaches, for Ohio State fans. Do you carry anything else of Big Ten football, north of the Mason-Dixon line, anything? Do you want to go show that, hey, teams this way can play?
Absolutely. The Big Ten is a great conference, and we want to do our best to represent the Big Ten, to represent the North, Ohio State fans, ourselves, this great university, Coach Day, Gene Smith, everybody. We want to make everybody proud. So, we definitely want to bring this one home for everybody.
Josh, where were you in 2016 when Ohio State played Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl? Where did you watch, and what do you remember thinking when that game's happening?
Yeah, my brother played at Kentucky, and I want to say, I can't remember exactly. I know for a fact I was in a hotel room watching it by myself, and I was either I think it was the night before I left for the Army All-American game, and I watched it in the hotel by myself. It was. I can't really remember, but I think I was in shock at how it went. Definitely didn't expect it to go that way.
And last two, Patrick. Josh, you mentioned you haven't been to the playoff. A lot of your teammates haven't either. Clemson's obviously been there a lot recently. Mm-hmm. Without having been there, I'm just curious. What do you think the experience of being there could be an advantage, and how can you guys kind of get that and match that?
Yeah, well, I think it helps a lot that we've played in a lot of big games. The rivalry game versus Team Up North is one of the biggest games in college football every single year. So we haven't necessarily been there, and we lack experience with that. But we have played in a ton of really big games, even just this season alone. So, we've been in the big moment, in the big spotlight before, and I think we'll be able to handle it just fine.
Josh, you mentioned the last three teams you playing on back-to-back was no joke. I imagine those are tough physical teams and it takes a toll. What's the most difficult part looking back on facing those three teams throughout the season?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part was probably turning around and winning that game last night. A lot of people even picked Team Up North to beat us this season, and they were playing really good football there towards the late stretch, and that was a super emotional win, I think, for all of us. And after an emotional win like that, it's hard to turn around. We were also physically beat up, so to turn around and physically try and get to where we need to be, and also be mature enough to put the emotions of that game behind us and look forward to the game we had ahead, it's a challenge.
I know you haven't really looked at film or done too much on last night, but their front was able to kind of get pressure on Justin, and it was a tough test. What was how do you look back on some of the issues there?
Yeah, well, some of the issues was they were bringing more people than we had that had blockers. I mean, you know, it's a simple numbers game, and when we do that, when teams do that, we have to be able to get the ball out quick. You know, have the correct reads, correct calls as an offensive line, because, you know, then if we make the wrong call, then they're bringing 6 people. We have 6 blockers, but we use 4 of our blockers to block 4, and 2 of them don't come. You know what I mean? Like, it's all a numbers game, and figuring out where the blitz is coming from. And you know, we settled in and kind of got that figured out in the second half.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
Abbreviated, just so we can get Coach on the road. Third row right, Rob. If we could keep them to one and one follow-up too. The coach will also be on a teleconference at 4 o'clock today too. Rob, go ahead, I'm sorry. Ryan, you were pretty adamant last night that you thought you should be number one. So we still believe that, but what's your take on the decision, and is this a chip on your shoulder moment?
I don't know. I mean, yeah. Do I feel like should have been the 1 seed? Yeah, but LSU's had an unbelievable season, you know. So I think, what Joe's done and what that team has done, they've done a great job. What Clemson's done, I can see that argument as well. I mean, they're defending national champs and they haven't lost a game since and played, great football. So at the end of the day, you got to beat the best to go win the national championship, and certainly Clemson is that. And so what matters is at the end of the year is who's won, not right now. And so we got a big challenge ahead of us as we start to prepare for Clemson.
You deserve one now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm competitive, so sure.
Did you think, as you look back on it, that things were kind of set up for it to end up like it did, though, with them playing the number 4 team yesterday and you guys playing number 8?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I've kind of moved on. You know, now it's on to Clemson. So, you know, I get it. It's not an easy decision. So, nothing but respect for the committee. I know they have a hard decision to make. So, I thought we made our case, but it's time to move on.
3-week break before you play again. Not a break. You're going to be practicing, but is it a chance to exhale a little bit? I mean, just what's your sense of what y'all have accomplished over these last 3 weeks, especially?
Yeah, I told them, told the team how proud I was of what they did at halftime because, I don't know, I know it didn't work. That wasn't a good call. I just felt like we needed a spark. Matt Barnes had, come up to me earlier in the week and said, we might have something here. Kind of showed why on film, and I thought it was well thought out. And at that point, we need a little something. And although it didn't turn into points, I thought it gave us a little jolt in that game, and also the feeling that, hey, listen, I know we're on a big stage, but we're going to be aggressive, and you can't be afraid to be bold. I told the guys to be bold in that game, and that was an example of it.
Working on the 1-inch drill at all during practice?
Not 1 inch, but he's good. We actually had him throw about a year ago in preseason when we weren't sure, when we had Chugs coming in and we were short on numbers. He was taking snaps for us, and he's played quarterback in his career, so we knew he could throw it. And plus, that stage isn't too big for Drew, so to make that throw, that wasn't an easy one, by the way. It wasn't wide open like we thought it would be, so it was well executed.
Right, Bill?
Yeah, how much have you seen of Clemson this year, and what are your impressions of them if you have one?
No, I got yeah. I mean, the impression is that they're the defending champs, and they haven't lost since, and they have a veteran quarterback now who's played a lot of football and he's playing really good. Etienne is one of the best backs in the country. T. Higgins and some of the wideouts they have are some of the best in the country. And then what they do on defense and what Brent Venables has done year in and year out. They're the best defense in the country. If you look over the last 5 to 10 years, you can make a case that they are the best. And they change up looks. They're aggressive. He's aggressive, and they're very, very talented.
Dabo's made a point all year of kind of playing the we're overlooked card. Does being number 2 enable you to kind of play that card too? Will you?
I mean, at this point, I think it's kind of it's minuscule at this point. We're all playing for the championship. There's 4 of us, and we all got to play each other. So mix us up in a bag and let's go play.
Second row left, Bill?
Ryan, whether it be in the offseason or spring or whatever, was you're just trying to, think about offense. Do you ever just look around college football at defenses, even if you're not going to be playing them? And if you do, does Clemson show up on that list when you look at them? And then I know you just touched on it there, but
yeah,
it seems like that'd be like maybe the first one you'd want to look at because they've been so good the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at offenses a little bit just to get different ideas of what people are doing. But yeah, I've watched Clemson this year and just watch what Coach Venables has done, and because he's pretty innovative. He changes up the different looks. He's aggressive. He comes at you, and so yeah, they definitely looked at him, and he does a great job, and those kids play hard for him. So we got to do a great job in preparation.
Different topic. What is the status of Brendan White? Was at the game yesterday.
Yeah, he wasn't available for personal reasons.
Hey Ryan, when did you get those college football playoff shoes made?
Kevin Reese made those 6 weeks ago. He told me, and he gave them to me today.
So did you know 6 weeks ago that you had them?
No, I didn't. He just gave them to me today. So.
What is your love of Air Maxes, and what's it like to be able to break those things out? Those probably be what, $1,000 on like a secondary website?
I don't know. Yeah, I've always liked those original Air Maxes, and then Kevin Reese started, bringing out different pairs, and the guys on the team really liked them. They kind of got fired up with the different colors, and so we wear them on game day, and yeah, I mean, I like the different styles and different colors. It's kind of a good look.
Though, sorry, Jerry, for the.
We gotta go. Let's go.
When you put on it's not about the shoes, but like when you get a gift like that, does it become real to you? Like, has it really sunk in yet? Of like, you've made it, and like what's really ahead right now?
Yeah, we're here now, like you said. Yeah, I mean, we're in it right now. We're in the Final Four, and we said it was March Madness a few weeks ago, and we're in March Madness. We won those 3 games to get to the Final Four, and now we get to go play for the whole thing.
Dan?
Ryan, obviously it just preceded your time here, but the 2016 game against Clemson, I know you've talked before about making sure the players understand the history. Do you think that's something that you will use as a motivating factor for this team?
I think we'll use it as a reference point, but that's 2 very different teams. And so, yeah, I mean, I wasn't here, and a lot of guys weren't here, but we'll definitely use it as a reference point, but I don't think it's very relevant here.
Front row right, Austin?
Ryan, you said you got to beat two teams no matter what, but when you, as a coach and motivator, see that number pop up and it's lower than where you were before, do you think I can use that? Or I just wonder how the brain works when that new information is processed for you.
Yeah, again, try not to get too far into that. I know we're just proud of what our guys have done, and we've done everything we can up to this point, and now it's time to go play Clemson. So I think at this point you can't look back on those kind of things, and we can go back and forth about it. I know those guys had a hard decision to make. They made it, and we got to move on. But we can't worry about that. Again, if we want to go win the whole thing, we have to be able to play everybody, and so now we get a chance to go play Clemson.
Front row middle, Joey?
Obviously, probably most teams could use a break this time of year. The fact that you closed the season with like 3 top 15 teams, how badly do you think your team needs some rest, especially after
I
last
think it's
night?
really important. Yeah, and physically, I actually we're okay physically to be honest. But I think emotionally and mentally, we need a little break here. We need to get away. So we'll do a little lifting, a little running here. But what it takes to go win a game like that after the couple games we had leading up to it, it's just not easy to do. I mean, it was truly March Madness. It was like playoff football, and so now they needed some time away just to kind of catch their breath and get re-energized. But we got to do a good job of getting our rest and getting healthy this week.
I know obviously you're coming off the emotional high of Michigan, and you haven't really probably dived into much film from last night, but Wisconsin's front, it was tough early. Is that just them, you guys coming off the high of Michigan, or were they doing stuff schematically that was tough?
Yeah, no, they're a good front, and they're one of the best rushing defenses in the country for a reason. Coach Leonard does a great job. They have a really good staff there. They have a good plan. One of the things that was tough for us is that we were not going to run that quarterback, and we didn't talk about much of that going into the game, but we weren't, and so with what we've done this year, that was fighting a little bit with one hand behind our back, but it is what it is, and we had to handle it. And I thought as the game went on and we started to wear them down a little bit, it became better, and the guys played better. But we had I think we had 230-something yards of offense in the first half. We just had some negative plays, the sacks. We fumbled in the red zone, and so we just weren't very clean. But we were still moving the ball just fine, and we had a lot of offense. Just could have been cleaner in some of the situations.
Front row left, Nathan?
Sorry. Oh crap!
I'll go.
Come back to me. Sorry. Sorry.
Talking about the rest, it's only a 21-day window before you guys play again. Just logistically, will this be that much different than like a bye week in the middle of the season, or how will you handle it?
The only thing that's different is that we're going to let them go home for a couple days. So we'll have a game week preparation. We'll let them go home for a few days, and then we'll meet them at the bowl site, and then we'll redo that game week. So that'll be the plan. But this is very unique. Like you said, it's only 3 weeks. So we'll kind of treat the first one like a bye week, like you said. The second one will be a typical game week. We'll let them go home for a few days, and then we'll have the game week. So that'll be the plan. I think it's the best move, and I think we'll have them fresh, ready to roll.
You were asked about like the punt and the spark and that kind of thing. You've talked a lot late in the year, talent equated games.
Yep.
This is going to be more equated than anything.
Right.
Do you get more aggressive? Do you push it? Do you look for a spark, or do you have to rein it in? Because maybe if you're playing a really, really great team, if you take a risk and it misses, maybe it really kills you. How does your thinking change at all against great teams?
Well, I think you just got to do a good job schematically. If it makes sense and you think you can do something here and there, then you do it. But it has to be a calculated risk, and it's all about the schematics at this point because, like you said, talent's equated. Both teams are going to play really, really hard. Who executes better, who's more prepared, and who has the right game plan is going to win the game.
And final questions, fourth row left, Patrick?
Ryan, you mentioned that the defending national champions, obviously a lot of those guys have been through the playoff, coaches, players. You guys don't have a ton of that. How do you kind of compensate for that lack of experience that they clearly have?
Well, I don't think the game hasn't changed. It's just being ready for that moment. And I thought we showed something in the second half that we could overcome a game and just impose our will on teams. And we have to carry that over into this game and show that we can do that and have enough confidence to do that against a team like Clemson. But really, our guys see ourselves as being the best in the country. So the moment won't be too big for our guys. It's just a matter of keeping our emotions in check and just doing a good job of staying focused.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ryan.
guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
For both of you, Ryan just talked about physically you guys are probably okay, but emotionally it's good to get away. I mean, how drained are you from this 3-game stretch that you've had? How beneficial will a break be for you guys?
I think the break will be really beneficial to our team just to give guys a rest and let their bodies kind of recover on a week off. I think a week is pretty much all we need just because pretty much this whole year we played a lot, but we really didn't play as much as we expected to in the season just because of the way we were beating teams. I think this week off will just give us a lot, just get our legs back and physically help us, especially when you have guys going in the training room and doing treatment and stuff all week and just taking care of our bodies. I think that's one thing that's going to help us on the back end.
Not because of the matchup, okay, not because of where it seeds you or anything like that, but being number 2, do you feel like you've got the respect that you've earned this year or no?
I feel like our level of play and how we've come in and come out week to week, we've gained a lot of respect from a lot of teams and all over the country. At the end of the day, it's, we're able to continue our season and keep trying to strive to get to what we accomplished in the beginning of the season, so it's a blessing.
We will go third row, Dan Hope.
Both of you guys, when you saw the matchup with Clemson, did you guys think back to the last time you played them, and do you guys use that as motivation or something to talk to the team about just how challenging this game can be?
No, I don't think so, really. It's just like we know what we have on our team. We know Clemson's a great team. That game that we played 5 years ago is 5 or 4 years ago. It's a whole different team. It's a whole new scheme, a whole new different players, and we're just going there to play our ball. Play Ohio State football. And I think Clemson's a great team. I think we're a great team. So it's one thing that Coach Day said: when talent equates, then there's no margin for error. And that's one thing that we have to do is focus on the little things and not worry about the whole big picture that everybody else sees, like Clemson versus Ohio State. We got to focus on what we got to do, being focused on our P's and Q's pretty much.
We'll go right in front, Steven.
You two are among the small amount of people who have playoff experience and like understand it's a whole different team and new players, but was there a shock factor after that game in the locker room, or what was the thought in the locker room after that type of game?
I think the biggest thing was just, Big Ten is one of the toughest conferences you could play in, you know what I mean? And just to make it to the Big Ten championship and to win it back-to-back 3 times like we've done, nobody has ever done that. So it's one of those things where, as this 2019 class, we've edged ourselves in the history books. And, it's something nobody could take away from us. But I think the biggest thing was just, at that moment in time, it was, we accomplished something great. Enjoy the win for 24 hours. But at that moment in time, we knew that we would continue our season. So, enjoy it. Let's get ready for our next mission.
Fourth row middle, Joe.
You guys both came in with Damon Arnett, and he wasn't necessarily a coach's favorite when he first came in. And Coach Day, Coach Hackley have raved about him. A lot of people have talked about his leadership. He's playing with an injury. How have you seen him progress from young Rico to now?
I think Rico has he's mature. When we first got here, the year 2015, we had a lot of guys in our team that just weren't ready to be in that college football scene. We weren't prepared to go to class, play football. I think just people had that mindset oh, I'm a college football player now. I can do whatever I want, and that they didn't know about the extra things like going to school, then focusing on class and football, and being able to split everything up and being in a big city, big college team. I think one thing Rico's done this year is he's become a leader of the whole team, not just his unit, the whole team. You can feel him anywhere in the facility. When Rico walks in the room, that it's all about business now. And I think in previous years he wasn't strictly about his business, but I can see this year that he's just a whole different person. He's all about the team. He's all about the brotherhood. He's all about playing for one another. He's not selfish. He's not thinking about what he's gonna get. He's thinking about the whole picture, what the team's gonna get at the end of the day.
We all had to mature. We all was a little bit immature, so that just comes with being an 18-year-old kid, coming to college, being on your own, and mentally, emotionally, we all had to develop and grow up, and that's one of the beautiful things about this program. You not only develop physically, but they develop you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as young men. So I give my hats off to Rico. I appreciate him for everything he's done, and he's playing his tail off, and I appreciate him. You know what I mean? It's not a beat. He knows, and he makes us know that it's not about him. It's not about me and Jay Sean. It's about us as a team, us as a unit, us as a defense. So, it's all love, and we grind, we develop together. We went through our process with Coach Meyer together for the 15 class. So, it's been a unique journey. It's been a special journey. So, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of our class, and I'm proud of our team for what we've done over these 4 or 5 years.
Austin. Jay Sean, what was your first thought when you saw that you guys dropped to number 2?
I didn't have a feeling, but I feel like the media sometimes or people don't really give Ohio State the respect that we need, but we're ready to play. We don't care where we're at. We'll play in Oklahoma. We'll play. It doesn't matter where we're players. We're gonna be ready to play football. And number 2 doesn't matter to us. It's just a ranking. We're still in the playoffs, so each team got to line up against each other and play. So we're ready to go play anyway. It doesn't matter where we're at. We're ready to just play ball.
Right behind Rob.
You guys, most of this season, or a lot of this season, were, I don't know if question's the right word, but this whole idea of you weren't tested, and then you were tested in 3 straight games. If you really look at it, isn't it an advantage? Because Clemson really hasn't been tested that way. This whole idea of talent equates. They've got to face that against you guys. Can you use that to your advantage?
I'm not going to so much to say use it to our advantage because at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen on a Saturday. You know what I mean? We got to suit up like they got to suit up. And, the stakes are high. We're playing for a national championship, and, they're going to be ready to play. We're going to be ready to play. And, those same questions, like you said, were being asked of us, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago when we were rolling through some of our competition of once we hit adversity, how will we respond? How will we react? And it's one of those things Coach Meyer has preached to us all year. When talent is equated, when adversity hits, you revert back to your training. And I feel like we did. My fault, Coach Day. Who did I say?
Coach Meyer.
Oh, shit. I'm getting old. I'm sorry. I apologize. But I feel like we've done that very well. We've executed these past 3 weeks on, being able to show the nation that, when adversity hits or, when we're behind the 8 ball, we're able to bounce back properly like we should have.
A couple more, Doug.
Do you guys, in 2016, you're young guys, you were around, you guys were a great team, but you go out there and you lose 31-0. Did you feel in that moment a change in the program at all? Did you guys take it on yourselves of, we know we're great, but look, maybe this 31-0 loss to Clemson showed we need to take it to the next level somehow? Did that send a message to this program at all, do you think?
I wouldn't so much as say that just because when we played Clemson in 2016, it was a different era of Ohio State. You know what I mean? Different players, different coaching staff, and it's always been the same message. But I feel like the team that we are now is completely different from the team we were in 2016. Even with the players that we had on the team. So I think it's just one of those things where, for us, 2016, yeah, it's in the history books, but it's just that it's history. Right now, we got to focus on the present and get ready for this future game.
Yeah, I feel like this year, previous to past years, this team, we're having a lot of fun out there playing for each other. I feel like that's one big difference that we have from the past and now. Like, when we step on the field, we're ready to play. We're going to play for one another, and we're having fun while we're doing it. That's one thing I can see that's different from this team. We walked in that locker room in the second half, or after the first half yesterday. We knew what was in front of us, and we knew that we were ready to go out there and play. And that's one thing that this team is so different about this team now is that we're willing to lay it down for one another. We're willing to die for our brothers. We're ready to do anything to win the game.
And you guys talked about this tough Big Ten schedule you played at the end of the year. Do you feel, are you carrying the Big Ten name now into this playoff? A Big Ten team hasn't even scored a point in the playoff since Ohio State won the national title 5 years ago. Do you feel like you're trying to show people what Big Ten football is all about?
For us, we're carrying the Buckeye name. You know what I mean? if people want to look at it as we're carrying the Big Ten into the college playoffs, then that's fine as well. You know, we appreciate the support. But at the end of the day, we can't so much as focus on carrying the Big Ten as a whole, because that's a lot to carry on some shoulders. At the end of the day, we got to focus on carrying Ohio State into each game, each week, each play, each practice, because at the end of the day, we have to play in those games. We have to perform. We have to come out and execute. And win, lose, or draw, we're going to get the praise or the criticism. So, you know, it's an honor to go into it being the only Big Ten team. But at the end of the day, we got to focus on playing Buckeye ball.
Last set of questions, Joe?
Just for either one of you guys or both of you guys, what was it like being in the locker room after that loss to Clemson way back in Fiesta Bowl in 2016?
To be honest, I can't remember.
I do.
I can't remember.
It was rough.
I blocked it out.
It was rough. That was my first season actually playing. It was our redshirt freshman.
Yeah,
It was
we actually played in that game
It
too.
was our redshirt freshman year, and I just remember like we put in so much hard work, and especially with the group of guys that we had, and it was just like we just fell short, and it was one of those things we kind of asking questions like, all right, what did we not do? What did we miss? What did we take for granted? You know, we put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it to get to that moment and just get on the big stage and just didn't play the tune the way that we wanted to or that we should have. So, you know, it was one of those moments where, for me, I'll never forget. But at the end of the day, it's history. You know what I mean? Try to rewrite, you know, a new chapter in his book and see what happens.
Were you guys surprised by that loss? Because 2 years before 16, you guys won a national championship. You guys weren't there, but the program had been accustomed to so much winning, and to lose a game 31-0, I imagine would be shocking.
I think it was more so disappointment, not so much as being shocked, just because we didn't perform to our ability. We didn't play to the standard and to the level that we knew we could have. So I think it was more so disappointment, not so much a shock.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Yep.
it.
Yeah.